Well, North Asia correspondent Mark Willacy is just outside Tokyo and joins me now on the telephone. Mark, firstly, can you just tell us exactly where you are? And we hear you cotton traffic in the outskirts of the capital, Tokyo.
Yes, we're just on the outskirts coming into Tokyo. We've come up from Kyushu overnight, and I have to say we tried to get a flight up urgently to Tokyo, and all flights were cancelled. There were hundreds and hundreds of people at the airport waiting to get on their flights, but they were all cancelled. We were lucky enough to get a bullet train to Osaka and have been driving overnight since then. And I have to say there was a lot of traffic jams on the road because people couldn't take the main highway to Tokyo because it's along the coast, and there's a fear, or there still is a fear, of tsunamis hitting that particular stretch of road.
And Mark, we're looking at some incredible live pictures now from NHK, or pictures that we've just had earlier. Can you just tell us, it's just past 6 p.m. Japan time, what is the country waking up to?
Well, basically it's waking up to a rising death toll. We're hearing official figures here in Japan that there's at least 200 to 300 dead officially, and about 1,300 missing officially. But we're also hearing from the Kyoto news agency here in Japan that there will be over 1,000 dead, and there's also talk that the dead could be in the thousands. So that's what we're waking up to in Tokyo. Tokyo traffic is moving. We understand trains are back and being serviced. But people are still worried. There's been dozens of aftershocks overnight, including some of over 7 in magnitude. So they would be classed as a serious earthquake in themselves, but they're now being classified just as aftershocks, given that we've had an 8.9.
And we've heard that, all things considered, people are reacting with relative calm in terms of the earthquake. Is this something that Japan is well prepared for?
It certainly is. Japan has 20% of the world's large earthquakes. So people are used to them here. There's 2,000 earthquakes felt here nearly every day, or they're recorded here. That's very small earthquakes to moderate earthquakes. But in terms of an 8.9, that's never occurred. So it is something that is new even to the Japanese. This is a country that has some of the best building standards in the world when it comes to earthquakes, if not the best building standards. Also response teams. People have earthquake kits in their homes. So in that regard, the Japanese are probably the best prepared people in the world for an earthquake of this size.
And Mark, have you heard anything more from the Miyagi prefecture or Sendai?
News is slowly filtering out of there, but given that they've been hit by this wall of water that's pushed 10 kilometres inland, things are slowly emerging. We're not hearing too much. We know that hundreds of homes are gone. We've heard reports that there are hundreds of bodies that have been found in Sendai. There is concern also about this nuclear power plant that has a cooling system failure. There's been a state of atomic emergency declared by the government here. That is another big worry, because there's talk that there has to be a release of radioactive material into the atmosphere to keep this plant cool. There is talk that there's 2 trains missing. Also, a boat of 100 people was sucked out to sea. So there is still reports coming through, but there are also no news coming through about things we've already heard, because people just can't get the news out. There's people that are isolated, situations where, it's just impossible to get into these places.
Now, Mark, you are in transit. Can you just tell us a little bit about your plans and where you're headed?
We are headed basically into Tokyo, and the plan is to try and get up north, but we're hearing that the main highway is cut in many places, and in terms of airports to try and get up there, they're all closed as well. Essentially, that part of Japan is closed down. It's a disaster zone. The only way in, we understand, will be by helicopter, and that's something that the government is sending up in droves to try and help people and trying to ascertain exactly the scale of this disaster. I think we have a fair idea looking at the pictures, but what we don't know is the total death toll, and that will take days, if not weeks, to work out.